it's been a while since I've posted at least a 928 video. If you kind of follow the channel, you'll know that I moved to Hawaii, out of all places, and it's taken me a little bit to kind of settle in and get registered and all that jazz. I will say this about Hawaii: it's set up to visit as a tourist, but it's not set up to move here. Meaning, it's not that easy to just become a resident. It's not by design per se, but no one's working really hard to make it easy for people to move out here. I think the locals are happy to have you visit and spend your money, but go back home to the mainland. I say that because it has taken me quite a bit to register this vehicle. I have to weigh it. It's multiple trips to the DMV, because each time I go, it seems like, depending on whoever I get, they tell me I'll need one thing or another. I have a motorcycle that I need to register, and I need to go to a different place to get the VIN verified. It's just like one hassle after the other, but I'm more or less there. So I was resisting making a video because my speedometer and odometer stopped working. At one point, the speedometer stopped working, but the odometer was working. But then I noticed that both the odometer and the speedometer stopped working, which doesn't make sense to me, but nonetheless, it stopped working. I took out the dash pod and the center console, and I even took out the speedometer. I looked at the circuit board in the back and noticed that the previous owner, whoever had gone in there, and I don't know what they did, but there's a lot of solder joints that were not looking that good. I kind of felt like there could have been some shorts. So I cleaned all that up and noticed that the odometer was starting to work, buttoned everything up, and then went for a test drive, and it stopped working, then started working again. So I'm not sure what's going on. If anyone has any suggestions, please post them in the comments. The thing about it, the gears were fine. So I guess a common problem is the gears kind of disintegrate over time. The gears are fine. I think that maybe is what the previous owner had done, is replace the gears. So the gears are good. So I didn't bother going into that. And I want to say there's something intermittent in the board area. The signal from the speedometer or speedo sensor in the back of the transmission, that is functioning correctly, I believe. I haven't verified the line between the back spare whatever tire area up to the board up here, the main board. But I mean, to me, it seems like it's very unlikely that that connection will be not working right. So I want to say something with the instrument cluster, and if it starts working intermittently, then I'll shoot a video of it. But I don't know. That's the thing with 928 ownership. I think the reason why 928s are not taking off quite as well as I think they should go in terms of its value and people being enthusiastic about buying them, is because one problem after the other. As an owner, you just like are sick of it after a while. You're like chasing one problem if you do happen to fix it for whatever reason, it's like the next problem crops its ugly head up, or they just compound on itself, and you never get a moment to just enjoy the car fully functioning. So that's, I think, part of the reason why, who wants to deal with that? It's kind of fun, I guess, when you solve the problem and it's a relatively easy problem, or there's a solution on the internet. All that is good, but if you're chasing a problem that has no, not a lot of information on the internet, it is so frustrating. Traffic in Oahu, main island, is interesting. The best way I can describe it is that you have to assume everybody is like an old Asian woman or old Asian man driving. If you assume that, it's fine. They're super nice, they let you in, it's great, but their reaction time isn't super fast. They know how to drive, just not very fast. Yeah, so that's how you drive in Oahu. Assume everybody is 100 years old and Asian versus 100-year-old and white. Different type of driver. So I'm just doing a drive along highway H1, we call it H1, and then I'm going to go to H3, which is has been identified as the most beautiful highway in America, and it is pretty good looking. In that, like, there's no billboards, it's elevated. I guess it's the most expensive highway also, per mile or whatever. It took forever to build. I get a lot more looks in this car in Hawaii, I'll tell you that. Probably because you don't see it that often. Anyways, so I was troubleshooting the speedometer. Like I said, I took it all apart, dash pod, which is a hassle. If you've ever done it, it's like super annoying. Prior to that, I fixed the seat switch. I posted a video on that. That was pretty straightforward. So I have the speedometer. I still have that other issue. It's kind of like a heat soak type issue, where if the engine is warm and I turn it off and I try to start it again, it doesn't start, or it sputters and then it dies, and you have to kind of rev it. So I don't know what's going on there. That's another problem. Prior to the speedometer, that was another problem I couldn't figure out. Yeah, so it's kind of made me a little bit discouraged about this whole 928 experience, which is, it's demotivating in order to make videos. But I figure I might as well put something out because it's been forever. Other than these issues, the car drives good. It feels like it drives strong. I don't drive it that often. Maybe like once every 2 weeks. I should probably do it every week, but I haven't. Just haven't had the time. There's a third camera that I have, but it actually goes in my mouth, and it's the perfect point of view camera. But I can't obviously talk while I'm shooting it. But it gives you like what I feel is like the perfect driver's perspective. And I want to say not a lot of people do it. Like, there's some channels out there. very professional, and they have, you know, whatever millions of subscribers, like Throttle House and Haggerty. And you'll see this shot of either the dash or this view right here. And I'm always wondering how they do it, because, you know, they'll have a camera shooting at the driver, and that camera's not there, obviously, so they work it in somehow. But that camera's right here, and I've tried different things, and to get that perspective, like literally it has to be in this mouth area, or you're wearing like a helmet and it's right around the beak. And so what I have is this, it's actually set up to bite, and I'll like put it in my mouth and then give you that perfect perspective. And I've played around with different things, but like I said, it's like cumbersome and you can't talk. Not that I really want to talk about it. But here's the highway. Thing that this highway has is this is really long tunnel. 4,500 to 5,500 RPM, it sputters. There's like a loss in power in that area. So I don't know if that's the fuel injectors. I've replaced the fuel injector, I think, when I first got the car. And before, it used to die. So before, it used to just kind of cut out and I would lose power. But I've noticed as of late, it just kind of sputters. Now, there's this little, it's the oddest thing over by the, I forget what they call it, but this, the computer module down at the passenger footwell. There's like the main wire loom that goes into this computer, let's say. And there's this green little wire that comes out, and it had a connector. And so I can't remember when I bought the car whether it was connected or not connected, but I had it unconnected for the longest time, and I recently connected it. I have no idea what this wire does, but I noticed that after connecting it, it now sputters versus just a complete loss of power. I have no idea whether that is associated with it, but that's like another thing. Owning this car, it's just like odd things like that. You have no idea what its purpose is. And I suppose I can take a photo of it and post it on Rentslist and ask people if they know what it is. And I might end up doing that, but I mean, they're gonna say, well, where does it lead to? It's like, yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Rentslist. It's like, out of the 100 replies, if you get that many, but let's say out of the 10 replies, oh crap, out of the 10 replies, 9 of them are just like, I don't know, like common sense responses that, yeah, I've already done it, or they're like red herrings, and